What's going on, boys and girls? You're here today to learn about communication on League of Legends and gaming in general, I guess. Um, Sometimes I look over here. I'm sorry for that. Before we get started, I need to make sure I'm looking pretty. You can't touch this. But well, let's get into it before I start prattling around and we get distracted, we get sidetracked. So communication in League of Legends isn't as important as say other games like first person shooters. Like I used to compete at other games like Halo and crap like that, where communication was obviously mega important. League of Legends communication is still important when you're obviously competing at a tournament, but online it's not so much. But I'm here to tell you that there is a significant percentage of say a player. You have like communication, you have mechanics, you have attitude, you have whatever, and you're all built up over these like an area, a trait, and you're trying to get to 100%, like 1 to 100, 100 obviously being where no one is. But you need to fulfill these different areas of your gameplay to get better as an overall player, let's say. Um, so I wanted to go through where do we start? You know what I mean? We start in the pre-game lobby and matchmaking, where where the fun begins, as we'd like to say that. So you start in, you go into the pre-game lobby. You're gonna get straight away. You're gonna be hit with it. You know what I mean? You're gonna hit with one of them people that tells you, his last team was shit. You know, trying to trolling about, saying about, I don't know, posting random YouTube links, funny images, um, and straight away the attitude and the communication has already started in that lobby. So if you come into that lobby with a negative attitude and a negative sort of cocky persona towards somebody else or someone on the team, say you don't like what they've picked or something like that, then you're going to straight away, that influences the game, believe it or not, because then people are already thinking from what you've communicated, they're already thinking about, this guy's an arsehole, I'm probably not going to like this guy when I play with him, I'm not going to listen to him. So straight away you want to start, talking or saying, starting to talk with your team, making, small chat. And obviously you can talk to things about team comps, you can talk, a lot of the times people don't communicate. I have a lot of mid laners that will sit there and you expect them almost to go AP, or you expect a top lane to go AP and they don't go. Like literally there'll be a Zed that will just lock in, or you've already picked your jungler. Say I've picked Lee Sin, King Sin. You know what I mean? I'm all ready to go on Lee Sin, and I've locked him in first or whatever. Um, Obviously, part of that responsibility could be mine. I haven't asked whether what he wants to play mid, but at the end of the day, it's not as much my responsibility as it is. If he's playing Z mid or an AD mid, he should really call it out, because you're expecting to get AP from the mid lane or maybe the top lane. So straight away, if you lock in like an AD jungler and then he locks in an AD mid or an AD top as well, you've got no AP on your team. Unless someone picks like a Annie or a Morgana support or something like that, so you get a tiny bit of AP. But that's already where communication starts. That's what people don't understand. You need to communicate with your team to build team comps, and to help the general flow of the game when you're fighting. Yeah, so you need AP basically. You need AP. Don't run full AD comps. Communicate with your team. If you're going to pick Zed or you're going to play, tell people in the lobby. Because then a jungler like myself can sit there and go, oh, he's going to play Zed. Fair one, I fancy a game on Elise. Or, I'm going to blast some Amumu. You know what I mean? Here comes the rain. You know what I mean? Here comes the little green blob, the little green man to destroy shit. So you need to understand. So when when we get into the game, you need to start devising strategies, through communication, especially if you're a jungler or you're a mid laner. Straight away, you want to start communicating. So you want to cover certain people's buffs. You want to use pings. You want to understand and you want to say what you're going to contribute, how you're going to play out the map. So this goes into like sort of like a map efficiency, where you sit there and say, if I start on bot side, I'm going to do golems, then I'm going to do wraiths, then I'm going to smite the red, get loads of health back, and then I'm going to come and gank bot. So I'll say level 3 bot lane, bot lane gank, be ready. Um, so that automatically tells my bot lane that, oh, he's good. Like if we let him push a little bit, so I'll tell them and I'll say, oh, let him push a bit or whatever. But my bot lane are already, they're prepared for it. They ain't gonna get a ping 5 seconds before. They're gonna already have the lane set up for when I come in and gank. So that's important. Talking about efficiency as well. Say if you kill a few members of their team, you take dragon, but you can see another opportunity on the map to take another objective. You don't just have to focus on one objective. You can take the dragon, and then you can run down and start attacking the bot tower. You can play other things and you can ping other things at the same time instead of just all focusing one objective. So you want to be able to communicate them things, and obviously you want to understand everything your team is doing, so you can get more out of your team, so to speak. The more you communicate with them, the more you tell them, what to do, the more efficient you are. And when you communicate, it's about execution. Like communication helps execution so much. This video is already boring me, but this is like getting down to like the hard fundamentals of League. So, you haven't got much more personality, understand that. I know you're gasping for it, but you want to get better. So, execution, like I say, like yesterday, for example, I was playing in a low plat. I'm a diamond player, and some guy, I was pinging Bard to ult the turret, and so we could dive, so we could kill these two players at like quarter health. Of course, I've pinged him loads, like pinging the turret, like expecting him to understand what I'm doing, but he hasn't understood. I can see his ults up. You can see that his ults up on the bottom right corner. Of course, I've dived in, and like literally, it's been a complete disaster. They've flamed me, going, "You're a noob. Get out of the game. Don't come bot again." And I was like, oh, Bard, you just had to ult the turret there, and we had 3 kills. These kills were ours. That's all you had to do. But what it was, when I look back, I was like, it's kind of my fault because I'm expecting this player to understand. I'm expecting someone who's probably, not as well attuned to the game as myself, or don't understand his champion, or doesn't think outside the box. Because certain players, until they see someone else do it, or they get it explained to them, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the play that you're trying to make. So yeah, I should have said before I dive, I should have said, Bard, you're going to ult the turret, and I'm going to dive, I'm going to kick, and we're going to get a kill or 2 straight away, and it'll be easy. That'll be it. The execution will be done. So there's an example of that. I've just got a load of notes below me, like literally just free-handed. There's no particular order. Always assume the best in your players as well. Like I did in that situation, I assumed that my players had the skill to execute that certain play. So assume your best. Like if someone says they're going to do something, like, oh, let's go kill the jungler on the red buff, you've got to go with it. You've got to go, yeah, what, this is an opportunity to kill someone. If a jungler, like with me, I sit there and I'll ward the red or I'll ward the blue. If he's a weak dueling jungler and I'm someone who's really good at dueling, I'm going to pick on him. So I'm going to say, I'm going to put assist, and I'm going to, when the red buff's up, I'm going to wait there, and then I'm going to kill him. But my mid laner needs to communicate with me and needs to come with me, because it's 3 kills. But what some mid laners do, they don't move, and then their mid lane will collapse onto you, and their bot lane will collapse onto you. So instead, you don't get a free kill because he's refusing to communicate with yourself. But that's what you have to get as a jungler as well. Some mid laners will just sit there, or bot laners, they'll just sit there and just farm their 5 creeps or their 2 creeps. They'd rather do that than help you and get a kill, which is worth about 15 creeps. So, I had a Vayne the other day, and I must have been about 18-1 on League. And basically, I've come down to the bot lane because I've got the other 2 towers, so the bot tower's still up. They've been absolutely, it's easy. The Vayne's like 1 and 6. So I've come down to the bot lane, cleared a wave, and Vayne's just run into it, and she's like, ping me back, ping me back. And what she doesn't understand is, in her head, look, I'm going to get the turret. The turret's worth more than this wave. You know what I mean? The turret gives so much more than this wave. But she doesn't understand that in her brain. So, you need, even though communication, like I communicated it with her after, I was just like, but she just left. She was just like, I'm done. She was like 1 and 7. It was like a typical crybaby vein. Um, who don't. That's another skill as well, which we ain't going to go into in this video. But getting learning like how to get carried as well. But what I'm saying is, I took the wave and I communicated. I was taking the tower as well, but she didn't understand the relevance in that. Like that's obviously her fault, but trying to communicate things like this to people in a game where they don't understand, they expect their self to carry. Um, but that's obviously part of it. You've got to communicate with your team and say, look, we're going to win this game. You've just got to sit back and just not feed as much, or chill out. Just let the game play out, and all they have to do is focus on not feeding it, and you'll win. Words of encouragement as well, like obviously you can obviously talk to people, communicate in a negative way in a sense, but if you say someone needs to improve in a certain way, or you didn't like what someone's done, it's best just not to say anything, because League of Legends is just so toxic. As soon as you say something to one person, he'll immediately take it like he's getting flamed, and he'll get better, and he'll start shouting at you, he'll start telling you you're a noob. You know what I mean? I fuck your mum. The list goes on. You're just in a. It's best just to mute someone and just not deal with them, because don't let it affect you. But yeah, words of encouragement. If someone does something well, good job top lane. You know what I mean? You've just solo killed their top lane. You've got a word. Oh, nice dive. You know what I mean? If your jungler makes a nice dive. You know what I mean? So you encourage them. And that momentum builds. When someone's getting complimented a lot, they get more confident. And it makes them better as a player. They tend to not choke. They understand that they're doing the right things, and you need to show that. You need to communicate that they've done the right thing. Nice job, great work, team. Yeah, and also you need to impact on others' decisions when you're communicating. You can impact on how they play the map. You can say like, "Oh, push bot. I'm going to push top with top lane," or one player will go top, push it, and then we'll take the tower bot lane or something like that. When they close in on our top laner, we'll go take the bottom, or there's 3 guys top, go take the dragon. And this communicates across to your team, so you know what's happening. Like as soon as you see 3 guys top, if you're a jungler, you should be kind of looking all over the map and seeing like that anyway. But if you're a top lane, you should start pinging the dragon or something like that to get people aware of what's happening. Get people on board. Don't let anger and negative built-up frustration show in the game as well. As soon as you type that negative statement in the game, people are going to bite. As I said, any sort of negativity, people bite, like they get inflamed, they get angry. So you've got to try and keep things positive. Even if you only do one positive thing, say in four or five scenarios, one positive thing, one positive time someone does something good. That's what you've got to take note of. Other than that, it's up to you to instruct how the game plays out. If you're a better player than these, you should assume the best, but assume that they still need guidance. They still won't understand how your mind works, because you're 2 different people. Some player might play passive, some people might be aggressive. I know this because I've dived so much as a jungler, or like Lee Sin and that, and I've expected my top laner to be aggressive, and he's just passively backed out. He's not tanked the turret. And these sorts of things affect you. So, and then sometimes you get a really aggressive player, you just go in and bomb, and execute perfectly. But that's the sorts of players you've got to get used to, So communicating not just communicating with yourself, translating it to your team, and communicating in chat, and understanding other players' communications on the map of how they are as a player, their personality. So yeah, I just think I'll wrap it up there. I could go in, and talk for probably half an hour on the subject, but I don't want it to be that long. Like I don't even know how long it is at the moment. So yeah, hopefully you like this video. I could go over more things as well. Not that I'm the best at any of this. There's probably some other guy who's challenger. Go listen to his. His will probably be better. But these are just some of the things that I wanted to highlight in League that I feel like need to be addressed. And if we all went by this sort of thing, I think we'd all grow grow as players. You know, we'd all be a team. So yeah, good luck in your league and fucking positive communication, man. Cheers, peace, and fucking follow my stream.